What if that restlessness that tightens your chest at night is more than just temporary fatigue? Or if the difficulty in relaxing, even after a peaceful day, indicates something that is deeply affecting your well-being? I know how frustrating it is to wake up repeatedly, feeling heavy in your body and agitated in your mind, wanting peace and not finding it. Many times, you try to talk about it, but the words seem to not come, and the feeling of isolation only increases. It is a silent weight that accompanies everyday life, and no one should have to face it alone. What few people know is that small changes in your routine, such as simple breathing techniques or moments dedicated to recording your thoughts, can help your brain slow down and relieve this internal tension. I invite you to sign up here to receive safe and natural weekly tips that really work, in addition to being part of a community that understands your difficulties and walks alongside you, offering support and practical solutions to improve your emotional health. If you have been experiencing sleepless nights, that tight feeling in your chest when you wake up, or constant tension in your shoulders, know that these signs should not be ignored or attributed solely to age. These symptoms are a warning from your body and mind, indicating that something is out of balance inside. We often think that these discomforts are normal for those over 60, but in fact, they can reveal a silent concern that is deeply affecting your well-being. What lies behind these symptoms is the body's natural response to persistent tension. When we feel anxious, even if it is subtle, our body reacts as if it were on constant alert, preparing itself to face a threat that most of the time does not exist. This creates a cycle that is difficult to break. The heart races, breathing becomes shallow, muscles contract, and the mind does not stop spinning with worries. It is as if we were carrying a heavy backpack that no one sees, but that tires us with every step. Imagine your nervous system as a sensitive radio, tuned to a frequency that picks up even the smallest noises around you. When this frequency is out of tune, the radio starts to emit a constant buzzing sound, even when there is no music playing. This noise is what causes the feeling of restlessness and mental heaviness that you feel. Your body, so wise, tries to warn you that something needs to be adjusted, but often this message gets confused or ignored. The good news is that this cycle can be broken. There is a way to relieve this tension, and it starts when you recognize these signals and understand what is behind them. If these words touched you, subscribe to the channel and activate the bell so you don't miss the next steps that will show you how to regain your balance and inner peace. Press 1 if you have already felt these signals, or 5 if you want to better understand what is happening inside you. Together, we will find a way for you to feel better. When the body reveals subtle signs of tension, it is important to recognize that something inside us is asking for a moment of care and pause. This feeling of tightness, as if the weight of the day were piling up on our shoulders, is an invitation to slow down and find an inner refuge. A simple gesture that can be done in just 30 seconds is the postural adjustment called an inner hug. It promotes an immediate release of accumulated pressure, bringing a feeling of lightness that calms the mind and body. This small pause, even if brief, activates a response of tranquility that often goes unnoticed in the hectic daily routine. According to psychologist Maria Helena, who has dedicated over 25 years to caring for elderly people, this practice helps to re-establish the connection between body and emotion, facilitating the beginning of a process of serenity. She observes that, by allowing this moment of attention to one's own body, patients begin to notice a reduction in restlessness, even if gradual. Have you ever felt that your body is asking for a little more care? Type, "I will take care of myself from now on," and share this commitment with yourself. This small gesture generates immediate relief, as if the invisible weight begins to dissolve, returning a feeling of comfort and autonomy to face the day with more ease. Remember, this is just the first step towards a smoother path. Imagine this moment as a seed that, when planted in the fertile soil of your body, begins to germinate, bringing a gentle reunion with your own rhythm. Like the sun that warms the skin after the cold, this connection awakens a calm and renewing presence that you can cultivate at every moment. You may start to notice a delicate but significant change. Perhaps your nights will be a little more peaceful without that jolt that interrupted your sleep. Or perhaps when you wake up, that weight on your chest will not seem so intense, and you will feel an unexpected lightness. You may even find that during the day, walking becomes less tense, as if your body is finding a more natural rhythm again. These small changes are like subtle signs that your body is starting to respond, even if the symptoms have not completely disappeared. Recognizing these responses is a big step. Each sign of improvement, no matter how small it may seem, represents a victory for those who have dedicated attention and care to their own mental health. Patient listening, respecting the time needed for everything to settle, is what allows this collaboration between mind and body. It is important to remember that progress is not always visible immediately, but the simple fact of noticing this internal awakening is already a reason to have hope. Imagine that your body is whispering a silent thank you, saying, "Thank you for giving me space to breathe and be cared for." This alliance that forms between you and your own body is precious, as it strengthens your confidence in your gradual recovery. It is an invitation to continue walking with kindness, recognizing each advance as an important step. Now, I want to ask you a question. Type 1 in the comments if you have already noticed some improvement, or 5 if you feel that you are still at the beginning of this journey. If these words helped you see your path more clearly, subscribe to the channel. Each week, we walk together, offering support and information that makes a difference. Your subscription also helps this content reach more people who need relief and understanding. Feel this hope that grows within you, like the sun that rises and slowly warms, preparing the ground for new steps. Next, we will discover the second sign that confirms this positive response, bringing even more confidence to your journey. Many older adults notice that, even after a seemingly peaceful night, waking up is accompanied by a feeling of confusion, as if the mind were shrouded in a thick fog. It is common to attribute this simply to age, but there is a little recognized factor that silently contributes to this restlessness: the habit of prolonged screen time before going to sleep. Whether it is watching TV, using a cell phone, or reading the news, this daily practice, so present in modern routines, can be one of the main causes of increased anxiety. When the blue light from these screens invades the environment, it interferes with the natural functioning of the biological clock, which regulates the sleep-wake cycle. The brain, confused by this light signal, understands that it is still daytime and remains in alert mode, as if expecting something important to happen at any moment. This continuous state of readiness raises levels of cortisol, the stress hormone, making it difficult to relax and impairing the body's ability to calm down. It is as if the body is stuck on a tightrope, trying to find balance while the nervous system remains tense. This invisible trap is no one's fault. Many people have not been informed about the impact that these small actions have on their emotional balance, and end up living a cycle where fatigue and tension go hand in hand. Waking up with a racing heart, feeling a tight chest, or being startled by subtle noises are real symptoms that reflect this silent imbalance. These signs should not be ignored, as they indicate that the body is trying to warn you that something needs to be adjusted. What if this restlessness that seems to intensify at nightfall is not just a reflection of the passing of the years, but rather the result of a sum of small imbalances that your body is trying to hide? You wake up with a feeling of lightness and a brief moment of peace in your chest. It seems that the restlessness has dissipated. But is this moment of tranquility a sign that the torment is gone forever? Often, this temporary improvement deceives the mind and body. It is like walking on a thin bridge covered in fog. The surface seems solid, but the risk persists just below, invisible to the eye. The silence of agitated emotions is not synonymous with definitive healing. It is just a pause, a break between storms. The reason for this lies in the complex dance between the body and the mind. The nervous system, accustomed to a constant state of alert, may go into momentary rest, but the accelerated breathing patterns and emotional triggers do not disappear. They hide, waiting for the right moment to manifest themselves again. It is a repetitive cycle where accumulated stress generates waves that come and go, making serenity seem like a temporary visitor. It is natural to feel discouraged when these episodes return, but that does not mean that you have failed. Your body is learning to trust the process, but it needs consistency to consolidate this security. It's not about winning a single battle, but about strengthening a routine that nurtures emotional stability. Each setback is actually an invitation to cultivate patience and persistence, not a sign of defeat. Sometimes the silence you notice between crises is not the end of the suffering. It's just the moment to take a closer look and choose a different path before the discomfort returns. Even when everything seems to be heading towards calmer days, many end up stuck in a subtle pattern that interferes with the progress of serenity. A common behavior among those over 60 is to maintain, almost automatically, a shallow and accelerated breathing, even without realizing it. This silent gesture keeps the nervous system on constant alert, as if the body were always ready for imminent danger, even when the environment is safe. Imagine a windmill that turns incessantly, even when there is no wind to drive it. This movement without apparent reason wears out the internal gears, preventing the mechanism from finding its natural rhythm. This rapid breathing acts as an invisible trigger, fueling a tension that makes it difficult to rest and recover emotionally. Understanding this pattern is essential because it often arises as an unconscious protection against uncomfortable feelings, such as fear or insecurity, that accompany the changes of age. It is not your fault. Your body learned to protect itself in this way, trying to avoid discomfort. However, to move forward, you need to recognize this silent trap and allow breathing to once again be a resource for calm, not for alertness. What if there was a way to slow down this internal mill, allowing it to spin only when it is really needed? That will be the next discovery on your journey. Comfort begins to set in, bringing a sense of hope. However, it is precisely at this point that many seniors allow themselves to be carried away by their confidence before it is time, a step that can rekindle hidden restlessness. This common mistake occurs when people reduce their attention to the subtle signals from their body and mind, abandoning the small practices that were supporting their improvement. Returning to old patterns, resuming intense screen time, or ignoring proper breathing is like coming out of a cold and exposing yourself to the cold wind. Although the symptoms have diminished, the body is still sensitive and vulnerable. It is natural to feel frustrated when, after a period of tranquility, tension returns. This oscillation is not a failure, but an expected process that can be reversed with patience and discipline. The momentary absence of discomfort does not represent a definitive cure. It is an invitation to redouble your attention and strengthen the habits that sustain serenity. Your body is opening a gap, and the choices you make now will define what the next few days will be like. Viewing this period without discomfort as a chance to create stability is essential. Imagine a wound that has just healed. Although it appears closed, the bandage still protects the delicate tissue, preventing it from getting injured again. This continuous care, even without any apparent symptoms, is what ensures a solid and lasting recovery. It is at this moment, between the temporary improvement and the consolidation of well-being, that the real difference begins to reveal itself. If you are here, it is because you have decided to listen to that inner voice that many prefer to ignore, the whisper of the body before it manifests itself in screams. This journey we have taken together has revealed that silent discomfort is not an enemy, but an invitation to look more carefully within oneself. The emotional pressure we feel, especially after the age of 60, works like a delicate bell. It does not ring to scare, but to awaken attention to what needs to be welcomed and reorganized. This discomfort is, in fact, a guide that points to the internal rhythm that needs more harmony. Therefore, on days when restlessness seems distant, it is essential to cultivate conscious and loving attention. What you do when this weight is not present determines whether it will take up space again or whether calm can establish itself once and for all. Active self-care, done with lightness and presence, transforms the cycle and strengthens your emotional stability. I want you to feel that you are not alone on this journey. Comment "Serenity" if you wish to embrace this new stage with kindness and courage. And tell me, press 1 if you have already realized that this discomfort is trying to teach you something. Press 5 if you still feel that it dominates your days. Remember, sometimes all it takes is a simple gesture, an attentive look, for the whole heart to trust its own rhythm again. You may have come this far feeling the weight of restless nights and racing thoughts, but today you look at yourself with new tenderness, recognizing the path you have taken. That moment of fragility gave way to a deeper listening, where each sigh became an invitation to inhabit your own body with more attention and care. Your body speaks every day, even when the noise of your mind tries to drown it out. Now you have found the silence necessary to perceive its subtle messages. There are no shortcuts or magic formulas for this journey. What transforms is constant presence. The willingness to be with yourself, respecting the rhythms that only time and patience reveal. What your body has been asking for all this time was partnership, a gentle look, a gentle surrender. Just like the earth that rests in winter to bloom in spring, your being is ready to be reborn more serene, more confident, anchored in the calm that lives within you. This transformation is not an end, but a new beginning. A seed that germinates silently, driven by the confidence that springs from the encounter with yourself. If this message touched your heart, share it with someone who needs to hear this same hope. And if you want to continue this journey of rediscovery, subscribe. Here, every word is a hug, a safe space for you to be and flourish. You are not alone on this journey.